Thank you guys for being here this morning. I know it's not always as easy to get on an allotted time schedule, so I appreciate you taking the time to be here. I do want to offer the video to you, so afterwards I will send you the recording in case you missed things or you want to do it at home again. The fact that you're here today supporting me, I appreciate, so thank you. Deep stretch is all about working through the hamstrings. Usually the lower half of our body will typically be on our bums and on our backs. We will do a few postures where we'll transition through down dog, so we'll get that in as well. But lots of focus on hamstrings and upper back and the quads and the glutes and things like that. So let us go ahead and get started. We are going to start out on our mats in a seated position, seated Virasana or cross-legged if that feels better for you. If you have a block handy, go ahead and grab it, and I'll go ahead and face towards you so that you can see me. Slide that block. I like to use level 2 for mine to give my knees a little bit more space, less pressure on the knees as you sit, and then rest your hands on top of your thighs. And together, take your gaze either down to the floor or close your eyes completely if that feels comfortable. And just take some time to land here in this space. Take a moment to feel your feet and your legs heavy on the mat, your knees. The way that your body feels in this shape. The groundedness of your sits bones. The relaxation of your shoulders. And just taking some time to notice. Using these first couple of minutes to just simply notice. Bringing our awareness to our mat and away from whatever it was that we were doing before this class. And just tuning into our breath. Noticing how it travels in and travels out without any manipulation to it or judgment or expectation of it. Just acknowledge where you're at. Just be the observer of your own self. Start to notice how you're feeling in your heart, any emotions that are coming up in your mind mentally. Together, let's take a big breath in through the nose. Fill up your belly and draw your shoulder blades up to your ears. As you exhale, open up your mouth. Release the shoulder blades down the back and let the breath exit the mouth. Let's do that 2 more times. With an inhale, draw your shoulder blades up. And exhale, release the tension from the shoulders. Release the breath. Do that 1 more time. Feeling the tension around your head and neck as you breathe in. And then exhale, release and relax. And just let your shoulder blades be soft. Feel your arms heavy either on top of your thighs or down by your sides. And starting to clear our mind already with that exhale out the mouth. Now we start to cultivate an Ujjayi pranayama. So on your next exhale, release any stale air you're holding on to. And then a big breath in together. Fill up from your belly to your ribs and to your chest. Breathe back out your nose from chest, ribs, and belly. Take another breath in through the nose. Fill all the way up and feel that subtle rising action of your spine. Breathing out to feel the subtle softening of your body, this grounding effect as we let the air escape. Continue on with a few more rounds of breath just like that. Bringing your hands together at your heart, fan your fingers out really wide. And today, I'd like for you to focus in on what it is that you're using this extra time that we've been given, or how you're using this extra time that we've been given to turn more inwards, So practicing yoga is a wonderful way to focus our energy inwards. But take a moment to think about other routines or maybe tasks, different things that you're doing at home right now where you're able to guide your energy and your awareness to that internal landscape, noticing energetically what's happening in your body. And as we take this time to kind of slow things down as the universe is requesting, notice what in your life needs a little extra care or attention. When we have routines or things that we're able to come back to each and every day, a set of something, we're able to find a little comfort in that, and it also provides us stability. So in this time of chaos and unpredictability, use this opportunity and your practice today to take your awareness inwards. And whether it's just that, having compassion for yourself, or maybe building strength in the time of need, let that be your driver for your class today. Take a couple more rounds of breath here on your own, just sealing in any intentions or that intention if you choose to use it. Using your breath as a way to seal it in. After the bottom of your second exhale, go ahead and let your arms fall down back on top of your thighs. Let your eyes open and take on light. See what you see. We're going to stay in our seated position with the breath in together. Stretch the arms up to the sky. Bring your palms together. Look up. And then exhale, slide your hands down to your heart. With a inhale, reach your prayer hands up to the sky, saluting the sun. As you exhale, press your palms down towards the mat. You can let your chin come down to your throat, stretch out the back of the neck. One more time with that sun breath as we inhale, reach your arms up, bring your thumbs together overhead, and exhale, slide your hands down to your heart, Anjali Mudra. Inhale, reach your prayer hands to the sky, looking up. And exhale, like you're moving your palms through molasses or honey, press them down towards the floor, chin to chest. Give the back of the neck a moment to stretch out. Maybe take one ear to one shoulder. We'll do some neck stretches a little later on today. And then when you're ready, go ahead and lift your gaze, slide your hands back on your thighs. And we'll start to circle the spine here. So as you move forward, let your heart come forward. As you move back, round through your spine. And then come forward again, opening up the chest. Do this a couple of times in one direction, circling the spine in one direction. Moving into the side bodies, into the ribs. And then when you feel ready to change directions, go ahead and change directions. Using your inhales to really open up the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Good. Do this a couple more times, evening out both sides. And then come back to a neutral spine when you feel satisfied, keeping the hands on top of the thighs. With an inhale, slide your hands back to your hip creases, arch your back. Gaze could be up or out in front. And as you exhale, round through the spine for seated cat pose, doming through your upper back. With an inhale, arch your back, open up your torso. With an exhale, coil in, pull your belly button back to your spine. One more time as you inhale, open up the chest. And exhale, round. Sitting up tall once again, head stacks over the hips. Stretch your arms overhead and bring your right hand down to the mat. I'll mirror you today. Left arm to stretch over the ear line. Good. And then reach back up through center. Let's take that to the other side. Bring your left hand down. Stretch your right arm over the ear line. And now again in a flow. Right hand down, stretch the right or left arm over. Up through center, take it to the other side. One more time on each side. Getting a nice big opening laterally through the body. And now keep your arms overhead this time. As you exhale, twist over to your right, opening up your wings. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, twist over to your left, opening up your wings. And then inhale, come back through center. This time, exhale, twist to the right and let your hands fall down. Your right hand can find your low back. Your left hand can find your thigh or your hip. With an inhale, find length. With an exhale, pull your belly button in. Breathe in, reach both arms overhead. As you exhale, twist over to the left and let your hands fall this time. Left hand comes to the back body. Sit up nice and tall, balloon your belly. And then exhale, take a twist. On an inhale, stretch both arms to the sky. And exhale, bring your hands out in front of you. Guide your block to the side if you were using it. And meet me in a tabletop position. From tabletop, walk your palms one palm print forward. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back to find downward facing dog. Feet are hip width distance apart. Find a couple of breaths here, a few rounds of breath actually. You can find movement or enjoy stillness. Pressing away from the heels of your palms. Find length out through your tailbone, but keep a soft micro bend in the knees. Let your head hang heavy in between your biceps. And on your next inhale, lift up onto your tiptoes. Looking forward, bend your knees. And then tiny little steps up to the top of your mat. With an inhale, lengthen halfway. Slide your hands up your shins, knees, or thighs. As you exhale, bend your knees and forward fold. Grab a hold of opposite elbows and ragdoll here. Let your head hang heavy. Tuck your chin to your throat. Maybe find movement or stillness. Bending and straightening out the legs a couple of times. Feel into the length or the tightness, resistance in your hamstrings. Try to rock the weight forward, back, and side to side, feeling into the four corners, the perimeter of your feet. Let your fingers drop all the way down to the earth, and with a soft bend in your knees, begin to roll up the spine, one vertebra at a time. Roll your shoulder heads up, back, and down, and then inhale, stretch your arms overhead. As you exhale, hinge and forward fold right from your hips with a flat back. With your inhale, press away from your legs, draw your shoulder blades together onto your back body. Soft bend in your knees, pull your belly button to your spine. And send the tailbone behind you while the crown of the head reaches forward. Exhale, bend the knees again and forward fold. Inhale, press through your feet, reach your arms up to the sky, look up. And exhale, hinge and forward fold, right from your hips, right back down. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold in again, as much as you need to bend your knees, or as little. When you inhale, press through your feet, reach out and up, reverse swan dive. And as we exhale one more time, prayer hands down the center line, forward fold. With an inhale, lengthen halfway. With your exhale, fold in again. Inhale, stretch your arms all the way up to the sky. And now exhale, you're going to bend at your knees for breath of joy in chair pose. Sweep your arms up and back. And then inhale, reach them up to the sky as you come to stand. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale, let it go. Good. So not a big movement here, but it's very liberating, just letting the breath kind of move us. Inhale one more time, and as you exhale, send it away. This time, lift halfway, slide your hands up your legs. As you exhale, plant your palms, step your left foot back into space. Lower your left knee down. Good. And then you can keep the toes, the back foot tucked, or you can lower them down, kind of up to you. Inhale, stretch the arms to the sky for Anjaneyasana. So when we're coming into this low lunge, back knee down, we want the right knee to stack over the ankle. And even though it feels really nice to dump the weight forward, stay active through your hips. So scissor hug your right hip back in space. You'll get a nice big stretch through your left hip flexor. Stretching the arms overhead, try to dial your pinky fingers in towards one another. With an inhale, grow taller through your spine. With an exhale, bring your right hand to your right hip and stretch your left arm up and over to the right, getting this nice big stretch all the way down this left side body. Keep your right hip, keep your hip scissor hugging here, pressing that right foot firmly into the mat. Now take this left arm all the way around. We're going to frame the front foot. If you have blocks, go ahead and grab them. If you don't, that's okay. Straighten your right leg long and then walk your hands or blocks under your shoulders. Flex your right foot so your toes are curling back toward your kneecap. If you feel really crunchy in your hip here, you may need to actually dial your heel forward instead of shifting your hips back further. We want this left hip to stay somewhere over top of the left knee. As we inhale, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, begin to reach your heart towards your big toe. Stop to where you feel your stretch in your right hamstring, that sensation behind the leg. So I'm going to adjust tall blocks, but set my forearms on them. Without dropping my head, keep the length through the spine, but then soften your chin towards your throat. Keep the length out through the back of the neck, the extension of the spine. And half splits or Ardha Hanumanasa here. Big hamstring stretch. You should feel it behind the knee, behind the calf, and all the way up around through your glute there. Come back up onto your palms. If you walked your heel forward, you'll need to guide it back. Otherwise, we'll all lunge forward into the front knee. Tuck the back toes and step the foot up for forward fold at the top of your mat. With an inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. And this time, planting the palms, bend the knees, your right foot steps back. Lower the knee down, untuck the toes if you wish, and then stretch your arms overhead, Anjaneyasana or low lunge. So again, if you have the tendency to really just let your belly kind of hang out, the hips droop forward, I won't lie, it does feel pretty nice in the right hip flexor, but we're coming out of alignment, which doesn't help us to protect the joints, which is what we want to do. So as you lunge a little bit until you feel a stretch, but then activate this left hip back, pulling to the back room, pinky fingers draw in towards one another. Try to reach up as tall as you can to the sky, keeping that length. And then bring your left hand to your left hip, stretch your right arm up and then over, getting a nice big side body stretch through the right now. Inhaling. And now exhale, circle the arm down, frame the front foot, grab your blocks if you have them, and straighten your left leg. Making adjustments here, I'm going to walk my heel a little bit more forward, walking the blocks or hands under the shoulders, find length with an inhale. And then as you exhale, find your depth. So if you're coming down, this is probably about where I'm feeling a sensation in the left hamstring, especially if you're coming off of little to no practice. Maybe your hamstrings are feeling tighter today. So even just a tuck of this chin is a simple forward fold. You may be all the way up here, and that's completely fine. Just meet your body where it's at today, and then focus on your breath when you get there. Use your inhales to help you lengthen. Your exhales, even just millimeters of difference, bowing closer to the front leg. Let's come back up onto the palms. Either guide your heel back or lunge forward. Good. And this time, go ahead and let's bring our hands down, blocks to the side, and we'll bring this left knee back underneath of the hip for tabletop position. All right. Good. And then from table, go ahead and Walk the palms a palm print forward. We'll tuck the toes and lift the hips up and back to find downward facing dog. Softening in through the knees. Take an inhale, lift up onto your tiptoes, look forward. Bend your knees and then take 2 big steps up to the top of your mat. With an inhale, lengthen halfway. With an exhale, plant your palms and step your left foot back, all the way back, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, and then lower again the knee down. This time, heel toe your right foot out to the right, and if you have a block, bring it underneath of your palms, so that you're under your shoulders rather, so you can lift up through your heart and lift up through your chest. For lizard lunge, you can stay right here, or you can decide to come down onto forearms, whether that be to your block or to the earth. And again, that block has different levels, so feel free to adjust. Keep your right knee hugged in towards your right shoulder. Options here would be to find more heat by tucking the back toes and lifting the back knee off the mat. Otherwise, you could keep the back knee down and start to press this right knee gently away. Right hand could also reach back to open up the chest. And now let's all bring the palms back underneath of the shoulders. Block over to the side if you're using it. You're going to take your hands right back under the shoulder, and as you extend your right leg back, sort of a baby 3-legged dog in our tabletop, just reach it all the way back behind you. Good. Set the toes down. Extend your left leg back, and now let's lower down to our belly. Bring your forehead to the mat, hands underneath of the shoulders. Press into the tops of your feet, and with an inhale, lift your head, lift your chest, lift your palms. Exhale, lengthen your forehead back down. One more like that. Lift your head, lift your chest, lift your palms. And exhale, lengthen your forehead back down. Now press yourself up onto your forearms. In fact, this left forearm will come out in front of you. Bend into your right knee and reach back with your right hand. See if you can locate the foot. Allow your head to come back onto your forearm, and then keep guiding your right heel close to your glute to get a quad stretch in the right leg. Take a breath in. Stay for the breath out. Pull the heel closer to your glute. One more inhale. One more exhale. Go ahead and release the leg. Bring your hands under your shoulders and press up and back into child's pose. Knees wide, big toes together. Sit your hips back and rest your forehead down. Take a breath in through the nose and a breath out. Stretch your palms to the top of the mat, lift your elbows, tuck your toes, and lift your hips back to downward facing dog. Pedal out the knees, keep the gaze back at your toes or your legs, relaxing the back of the neck. With an inhale, lift up onto your tiptoes. Exhale, bend your knees. 2 big steps again up to the top of your mat. Lengthen with your breath in. Fold with your breath out, bend your knees, and this time step your right foot all the way back. Good, heel toe the foot back until it doesn't heel toe anymore. Then let the knee fall down. Let your left foot heel toe all the way out to the left so you can bring your hands comfortably under your shoulders. Stay here or bring a block underneath of your palms. Turn this way so you can see me a little bit better. And then actually that's probably not the better view. Taking your gaze either forward or if you're coming down onto forearms, maybe gaze comes down to the floor. And then choosing to stay here, or if you're finding more heat, you might be tucking the back toes under, lifting the knee. If you prefer the stretch, lower the back knee down. You can bring this left palm up to kind of press away left knee, or left arm to reach back to open the chest. And then bring your hands back underneath of your shoulders. Press up onto both palms. Block moves over to the side. We're going to come into a 3-legged baby dog. So as you extend your left leg back, just sweep it back, extend through the heel. Good. And then go ahead and bring both knees down and lower back down to your belly. This time, interlace your hands behind your back. Bring your feet about hip-width distance apart. Roll your shoulder heads back and down. Lift your head and chest. Reach your knuckles to the back wall. And now lift your feet up off the mat, your legs, for Shalabhasana or locust pose. Inhale, lift your low ribs. Exhale, lift your mid-thighs. And now release, bringing your hands back under your shoulders. Press up and back into child's pose. Knees could be together or knees could be wide, up to you. Resting your forehead here for the next several rounds of breath. On your next inhale, so we can even out both sides, go ahead and slide forward onto your belly. And this time, bend into your left knee. Bring your right forearm out in front. Reach back with your left hand. If your hand doesn't quite reach the foot or the ankle, you grab a strap, loop it around the foot. Now lower your right head back to your forearm. And as you're lowering your torso, try to guide your left heel in closer to your glute. Get a nice quad stretch, pressing that left knee down. And then go ahead and release. Bring your hands under your shoulders and press yourself up into a seat. We are going to, or if you'd like the block underneath of your seat, go ahead and slide that back under here just so that you have support. Otherwise, you could just sit on your heels if that feels okay. And then as you're pausing here, hands on the thighs, take your right ear over to your right shoulder. Take your left ear over to your left shoulder. Drop your chin all the way down. Stretch out the back of the neck. And then take the gaze up. Good. Now come back through center slowly and let's take a circle in one direction. And then 3 circles in the other direction, changing directions. Good. Go ahead and come back up to a neutral spine. And from here, we'll go ahead and bring the palms back out in front of us. Block to the side. Tabletop, walk your palms forward by a palm print. Tuck your toes and lift your hips to downward facing dog. Feet together at the back of your mat. With an inhale, stretch your right leg to the sky. With an exhale, bring your right knee behind your right wrist crease. Find a figure 7 with your right leg and scoot this left leg all the way back until you're able to find your half pigeon. You want your left heel to be in line with your left hip so that leg shoots straight back behind you. Adjust as you need. If there's space between your right hip and the earth, fill it in with a block, a water bottle, towel. They all work great. Walk your hands back in line with your shoulders to sit up nice and tall. And then keep this length through your spine as you work your way down if you're choosing to fold forward or come into sleeping pigeon. And you can come down onto forearms, you could come onto forehead, you could stack palms to rest your forehead, or I like to sometimes take a block underneath of the chest and then another block underneath of the head. That way I encourage the length out through the torso, but I'm also supported so that my chest isn't causing the stretch to be more intense as the weight comes forward. So let's be here for the next several rounds of breath. Breathing into this outer hip stretch in the right side. We get an external rotation in the hip. Take your next 3 breaths here. And after that 3rd exhale, walk your hands underneath of your shoulders. Slide your support to the side if you were using any. Tuck your back toes under. Press up so you can lift the right leg to the sky. Bending the knee, peel open through your hips, squeezing that heel towards your left glute. Option to gaze under the left armpit to find your toes. And then set the foot back down and pedal out through your knees. And just feeling what that felt like on this side. Feet together at the back of your mat. Set up for the left side now. Inhale, lift your left leg to the sky. Exhale, bring your left knee behind the left wrist crease. Set it up so that that right leg stretches back. Hands will walk underneath of the shoulders. Any props underneath of the hip that are needed, go ahead and slide them under. And then working your way down to your degree. Probably takes about 5 to 8 breaths to get into a shape like half pigeon. It's not a posture that we get into very quickly because we're dealing with the hips. And the hips and the thighs are the emotional warehouse of the body. So a lot of our emotions, stress, tension, we hold it in our hips and our thighs. We also hold it up here in the upper back and neck. So if you're noticing a lot of stress and tension in your life, take this time to really focus in on your breath and maybe come back to that intention that we cultivated before at the beginning of class, this idea of really slowing down and deciding that as we have this extra time to slow down, how are we using this time to turn more inwards? How are we bringing our awareness to our internal landscape? So the emotions are a wonderful way for us to check in with that. It's the way that our internal landscape is telling us how we feel on any given day at any given time. Listening, though, is the tricky part. Bringing yourself into stillness, sometimes silence is needed, so that we can draw that awareness further in. Take our attention away from the external environment, any distractions of the outside world, and just choose to focus within. Choose to work on our internal beings. You can do this through breath, through routine, practices, different kind of things that you do at home to keep yourself grounded, to keep yourself in a stable position. Enjoy your next 3 breaths here. that third exhale. When you feel ready, start to walk your hands back under your shoulders. Slide your support over to one side here. Hands come underneath. We tuck the right toes and send the left leg up and back. Give it a bend and peel open through your hip. When you're ready, go ahead and set the foot back down for downward facing dog. Inhale, lift up onto your tiptoes. Exhale, lower your knees down. Transitioning to a seat. I'm going to face towards you so you can see me, but go ahead and transition to a seat and extend your legs out in front of you. I'll mirror you, so bending into your right knee. Go ahead and bring the sole of the foot to the inside of your left thigh and let your knee fold open like a book. Sit up nice and tall, so you may need to kind of shift or bring your hands behind, scoot to the very edge of your sits bones. And now stretch your arms up. Take a twist towards your bent knee. Bring your left hand to your right knee and reach your right arm up and over towards your toes. So we're trying to keep our top shoulders stacked on top of the bottom. And as we stretch towards those toes, we're only reaching in that direction, not necessarily trying to get there, right? It's just we're heading in that direction. Revolved Janu Shirshasana or revolved head to knee pose. Now bring your right hand behind your shoulder here. Point your left toes and come up onto your right shin for stargazer pose. That left arm's gonna reach over and behind you, let it arch. And then bring your seat back to the floor. We're changing sides. Go ahead and bend your left knee in. Bring the sole of the foot to the inside of the thigh. And then stretch your arms up to the sky. Sit up tall. Flex through your feet or your lengthened leg foot. Turn towards your bent knee. Bring your right hand to your left knee. And then stretch your left arm up and over towards your right toes. So as you use this bottom hand as a lever, it'll help you dial those bottom ribs under the top. And then we're just stretching long in through these QT muscles right above the hips, all the way through the right pinky finger. And bring the left hand behind your shoulder. Point your right toes, come onto your left shin, and sweep your right arm over like a willow tree. Let it kind of hang. And then go ahead and circle back around and come back onto your bum. Go ahead and work your way to the top of your mat, crawling here. Like we're setting up for child's pose. Take knees wide and toe pads together to touch behind you. If you have blocks, this is a wonderful place to grab blocks. Otherwise, I'll just kind of show you the direction that we're heading into, and you can decide where it's best for you to stop today. First, we'll start by bringing the hands underneath of the shoulders behind us. And then lifting the hips together to squeeze your glutes together, lengthen the tailbone, and then set everything back down, kind of removing the flesh on our own. Now, you might be getting a stretch on the tops of your quads here, just being right here with hands under shoulders, and that might be enough for you. The priority is to keep our knees glued to the mat, so when they come off the mat, we've come down too far. The next option would be to lower down onto forearms. And this is called reclining heroes pose. It gives us, again, a nice big stretch for the quads. We also would get a nice little back bend. If you want to go down a little further, take one block on level 2 and place it in between your shoulder blades. Take the other block with you, set it on level 3, and lower it underneath of your head. This way you can open up the chest and open up the heart. My knees are still touching and firmly planted into the mat, and the blocks are helping me to find a easy back bend or a chest expansion. Now bring your hands to your heels. Press into your forearms, tuck your chin. Try to replace your forearms with your hands and come back up without twisting or turning. Slide your blocks around so that they're out of your way. And then just slide your knees together, sit the hips to one side. Bring your feet out in front of you and scoot to the top of your mat. Bring your hands underneath of your knees and lower down slowly onto your backs. Bend your knees and bring them into your chest. And then take your knees wide, reach your heels up to the sky, finding happy baby pose. So ending with a hip opener today, heels stacked on top of the knees. If you can't quite reach your feet, just grab for your ankles. And especially if your head and shoulders are coming off the mat because you're reaching so far up, just grab a little bit lower and invite the knees down to the floor. You can still find movement, rock side to side. If you want, you could lengthen one leg at a time, or even both at the same time. Make sure that the back of the neck and the head, they all stay grounded. Your tailbone here as well. And when you're ready, go ahead and gather your knees back in together. Bring your nose up into your knees. Take a big inhale. Fill up your belly. And then exhale. Open the arms and legs long for final resting pose. And we have about a good 4 to 5 minutes here. So I'll let you know when class has officially come to end. For now, take this time to really get expansive on your mat. Palms will face open towards the ceiling. Toes fan out further than your heels. Walk your shoulder blades under one another to make a little shelf for your heart. And then take this time to make yourself 10% more comfortable. So any other movements that you need here, if you want to put layers back on if you're at home, or maybe you add a pillow under the knees or the back. Anything you need here so that you're guided into a space where you can remain still for the next several rounds of breath. As you inhale, draw the breath up from your feet to your knees, into your hips, all the way up through your torso, your heart, the crown of your head. And as you exhale, feel a cascade of healing energy down the back of your head, neck, your shoulders, your mid-back, low back, your buttocks, the backs of your legs, and all the way down to your heels. Surrender here completely. Deep peace to all of you. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Take fuller inhales through the nose, filling up the belly and the chest. And then emptying completely. As your breath gets larger and fuller, Begin to gather the awareness back into your body, wiggling your fingers, toes, wrists, ankles, elbows, and knees. Make movements here that help you to reawaken. And then hug your knees into your chest. Rock a little side to side, massaging, calming the nervous system. Roll over onto your right side and pause in the fetal position. Take a moment here to just thank yourselves for showing up today. Taking time out of your busy schedule to give back to your mind, body, and spirit. And then with as little effort as possible, press yourself back up. Find an easy seat. When you get there, stretch your arms overhead. Close your eyes, bring your hands to your heart, and bow your head towards your prayer hands. Taking in any new wisdom or any new knowledge from our practice today. And taking this idea out with us that we've been given this extra time to be still, to turn inwards. So how are you using this time to draw your focus more inwards, to go inwards and to work on some things that maybe need a little attention, helping us to grow, evolve, and become stronger for the future. Thank you for sharing your energy, breath, and practice with me today. Let us end our practice by saying, may peace, may love, may light be felt within each and every one of you. Bless you and everyone that you meet. Namaste. Thank you all so much for sharing your practice with me. I so appreciate the connection that we can make. Even though we're maybe miles apart, we're still able to move and breathe together. So thank you again for sharing your practice with me. I will have a new posting out this weekend as to what classes I'll be offering next week. And as always, love offerings, donations are always welcome. I have a Venmo and a PayPal account, both listed on my Instagram and Facebook. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday and weekend, and I hope to see you all very soon. Until then, namaste. We'll see you guys. Thanks again for joining.